and welcome. You have tuned into Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. I'm Shrishti Sharma and with me is Cheryl D'Souza. And viewers, this is the show where you get answers for all your stock-related queries. And as today is Friday, we're going to be not getting you Buy Now, Sell Now Pachala today, but we will be focusing on all the block deals, major block deals that have happened throughout the month, so we will put a spotlight on that. But before that, let's have a look at what the markets are up to. But firstly, let's have a look at on the flashes of the bottom of your screen, because that's very interesting. On the Geo-Financial, removal from S&P BSE indices deferred by 3 days, because do remember, after consecutive days of hitting a lower circuit, just today we have seen the lower circuit trail ending. Geo-Financial is now in the positive territory, holding almost flattish right now, but still you can see that green color on the screen, but can't say the same, Cheryl, for the benchmark indices.
Absolutely, Shrishti, a very good morning to you. And like you mentioned, the flashes on the bottom of your screen, remember that we are expecting that removal to come in from August 29. That seems to have deferred now, is what we are getting from the wire agencies. That Geo-Financial will be removed, will now be removed from the S&P BSE indices. That is now deferred by 3 days. It is going to be actually removed from the S&P BSE indices before trading on September 1st. That is what we are picking up right now from the wire agencies. But yes, like Shrishti mentioned, though Geo-Financials has managed to actually come out of the circuit today after 5 trading sessions, but nevertheless you can't say the same for the markets, which are actually now near the day's lowest point that's coming in for the benchmark indices. You have Nifty that is surpassed or broken below that 19,300 mark. It is actually hit its 50 DMA. I believe it's below its 50 DMA in today's trading session. Take a look at what Reliance Industries is doing in today's trading session, because Reliance Industries is also weighing heavy on the benchmark indices in today's trading session. Along with Reliance Industries, you have L&T as well. Once again, that one also is declining in today's trading session. Some of the key stocks that you should watch out for: one is Shoppers Stop. MD and CEO is resigned, and post that particular stock has seen a nosedive, 10% downtick approximately coming in for Shoppers Stop. No doubt the stock tried to the company has actually appointed a new MD and CEO, but yes, the fact that Mr. Nair has stepped down from the position of MD and CEO, that's not gone down well with the street. Almost 11% downtick coming in for Shoppers Stop. KFIN is another counter that is in focus on back of a brokerage note coming in. So KFIN is flying high in trade. Take a look at what Birlasoft is doing also, because Nomura has initiated a buy coverage on that particular counter. So you have Nomura also that is in focus in today's trading session. So these are some of the counters that one need to watch out for in today's trading session. But by Shrishti, yes, the market picture is definitely not looking that great.
Well, yes, Cheryl, we have broken some of the crucial levels like 19,300. We couldn't defend that on the Nifty 50 index. And looking at the Bank Nifty, 44,000 is something which is looking scary at this point in time. And the breadth of the broader markets is also not supportive today. But with this, viewers, let's move on and let's kickstart taking all your stock-related queries onto the show. Remember, you can connect live with us on a WhatsApp number that will be flashing on the top of your screen. And you can also write to us on our Facebook as well as Twitter pages, and we will try to take as many queries as possible. But before that, let me welcome on board two of our very special guests onto the show. Onto the technical side, we have Kunal Bothra to guide you better, as well as on the fundamental side, we are being joined by Avinash Gorakshakar. A very good morning to both of you, and thank you so much for joining. Moving to the first query then, this query is on PFC, and his name is Rajesh Maheshwari. Kunal, let me take it from you, because you have been tracking these power stocks. His second query is on PFC, whether it is prudent to invest at this point in time or wait for some more time to invest in future.
I think you should wait for some more time. These stocks have gone through a very differentiated kind of a trend, something which they've not been accustomed to, or they've witnessed over the last 8-10 years for themselves. And now these stocks have gone through a significant upside. RSI for these stocks on the daily, weekly charts are at a significant elevated level. So you'll have to wait out for a decent correction into these stocks. But yes, on that corrective phase is where you can look to start entering or nibbling into these stocks. So you should ideally not miss out into participating into these names on a downtrend. So maybe you can start at, say, for example, 250, 255 odd mark as the first tranche of buying, and then at second levels, maybe 240 odd levels could be another level we can look to add further.
I'd like just to take a note of this particular stock in today's trading session. That's Escorts Kubota. Kunal, do you want to share your views on this one? Because I remember this morning you spoke on this particular counter and the stock has surpassed the 3,000 rupees per share mark. And what a spectacular rise in Escorts Kubota. It's hit a fresh record high levels. What's your take on this particular counter right now on the charts?
Yeah, I think the stock has been doing exceptionally well. Last 7 or 8 days, the stock has added some 400, 450 points from 2600 levels. Again, a stock which I would not look to trade at current levels, not even recommend, because the indicators seem to be coming back into a very overbought territory for Escorts. So for traders who've been holding on to long positions, they can continue to hold on, maybe keep a 1 day or a 2 day trailing stop loss, but not advisable for a fresh trade.
All right, not advisable for a fresh trade coming in for Escorts. But good morning to you, Avinash. And I have Rajesh is writing to us for LIC. 50 shares at a price of 880 rupees per share. He wants to exit, but he wants to know where to invest and which multi-bagger from which sector.
Yeah, I think, good morning, Cheryl. I think LIC, as you rightly pointed out, has been underperforming right from the time the company went public. My sense is, I think, if the investor has a slightly medium-term horizon, then I think, stocks like Mahindra and Mahindra, or for that reason, Larsen and Toubro are very strong candidates in this kind of market. The growth trajectory for both these companies are also equally, promising. So I think, he could possibly take a call on both the companies, or he could invest in any one of these companies over the next, say, 12 to 15 months. My sense is that compared to LIC, L&T could possibly see a fair value of at least 3,000 rupees in the near term. And Mahindra looks very well positioned. Again, fair value roughly around 1650 to 1700 over the next 12 to 18 months. So I think he could obviously select amongst these two choices and take a call.
So that is coming in, or that's the take coming in from Avinash. But let's quickly cut across to B Summit India 2023, where we have Uday Kotak actually addressing.
To this very important transformational goals which we have set out from G20. And I would like the B20 to really take a lead in this in the years ahead. And in terms of narrowing down the priorities, we felt that trying to do everything is expecting too much. And we have narrowed down priorities to 4 areas. One is climate change, second is energy, third is biodiversity, and fourth is ocean pollution. So we, out of the self-development goals, focus on financing these 4 areas: climate change, energy transition, biodiversity, and ocean pollution. The other area which we found a big issue was always domestic financial sector. So we are recommending building of capacity in the domestic financial sector, which is including taxonomy, local regulation for encouraging achievement of self-development goals by businesses and the financial sector in the respective countries. And with this, I would like to say, let's do it well, let's prioritize, and let each of us from business and private sector contribute to the global good. Thank you very much, friends.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kotak. May I now invite the Chair, B20 India Action Council on African Economic Integration, an agenda for global business, Mr. Sunil.
All right, so that's Uday Kotak at the B20 Summit India 2023, and we will have who's who of India Inc. actually addressing at that event. We already heard from N. Chandrasekaran. Also, you had the SBI chairman Dinesh Kumar Khara also speak at the event, and you had now Uday Kotak, and you'll have likes of even Sunil, Bharti, Mittal also addressing that particular event. But let's move on then, and let's continue taking your queries. And this one is coming from Anand. He's writing to us from Goa, and Tarson's Tarson's products is the counter that he has in his portfolio, Kunal. He started accumulating. He currently owns now 30 shares at an average price of 690 rupees per share. Is it okay to add more at the current price and hold it for 2 to 3 years?
So, limited history for the stock. I think just about 17 or 18 months of price history for Tarson's. But even in that time frame, the stock has not shown any major strength. Difficult to forecast from a long-term way. long-term play. But I think even from a short-term angle, I would not suggest a buy on average. The weekly indicators are not yet oversold. Maybe I think that could probably be oversold for the stock when it hits, say, another 30-40 rupees on the downside. So you can look to maybe hold on to the existing quantity and add maybe at 470 odd mark.
Okay, but with this fears, let's once again cut across to the B20 Summit 2023. Sunil, Bharti, Mittal is addressing the event. Let's hear him out.
Two areas of legacy that India would like to leave, and I am personally aware of that. One is the digital. We heard some part of it just now. And the second part that our Prime Minister wants to leave as his personal legacy behind is the Africa agenda. Africa economic integration has been an issue which has been debated at length for the last several decades. It's picking up momentum. You have all seen our Prime Minister deeply engage with the world leaders to get AU, the Africa Union, as a permanent member of G20. I personally believe we are going to see this happen during this G20, that AU becomes a permanent member. There are a few people who have been invited, like Nigerian president and a few other countries from Africa, but African voice on G20 is now absolutely important. In my own opinion, Africa is the last continent of hope, one of the most populous young continent around the globe, but equally one of the most backward parts of the world. It really needs to get attention, and I'm glad that India will be taking leadership in this particular area. We have made 5 recommendations, and I would like to thank CII Secretariat of having assisted us in this. BCG was our knowledge partner, done a fabulous job, and more importantly, my co-chairs from across Africa and India, who have been very active in putting these recommendations together. We received 100 feedback recommendations from our members and co-chairs, and unanimously we moved forward with these 5 pillars which are presented in front of you today. I will not go into those details. I'll just pick up one and conclude with that. 60% of world's arable and yet uncultivated land is in Africa. Many parts of Africa, I personally travel to Africa a lot, including places like Democratic Republic of Congo. All you need is just throw seeds and crop will grow. The land is so fertile there, yet even that is not being done. Today we are all seeing the crisis that the world is going through on food production, especially with Ukraine getting out of equation of supplying wheat to African nations and many other poorer countries. Prices have soared up. Just adopt Africa as a place to do agriculture and perhaps some value-added agriculture. The entire world can change. 5-10% of that 60% of uncultivated land can dramatically alter the food chain and food ecosystem of the world. In my own, therefore, opinion, India's focus this time in G20 to direct energies towards Africa is the right one. I'll talk more about it in detail this afternoon, but once again, I would like to thank all our business leaders who have been part of this B20 agenda, of having very strongly put together a very, very, very keen recommendations for G20 to look at. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mittal.
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now Sell Now on ET Now. Yes, we have also the B20 Summit underway, so we will be getting you snippets of the big India Inc. voices talking at that event. But for now, let me continue taking your queries. And the next one is coming in from R. Ganesh. He's writing to us from Bangalore. And Delta Corp, around 200 shares, Kunal, at a price of 232 rupees per share. And IEX also. He has 200 shares at a price of around 160 rupees per share. At Delta Corp, as we can see on a screen, he's making losses. So is he making losses for IEX. What should his strategy be right now? Hold, exit, or add some more?
I think you should look to exit both of these stocks and maybe relook at them maybe after a few quarters, because I would believe that the kind of news flow which has occurred into these stock price into these two stocks is not anywhere closer to positive. Even we've seen selling pressure across the board for both of these stocks and across various time frames on the daily as well as on the weekly chart. So I would probably sense that we are in for a consistent downtrend for these stocks, or if not a downtrend, these stocks remaining absolutely sideways for at least another few quarters. So I would suggest an exit.
An exit and buy into what?
Large cap stocks, formidable ones.
All right.
Okay, moving on to the next query then. And Avinash, this one is coming from Ajay, and he wants to know the prospects for Manappuram Finance going ahead. He wants to know that whether this is a buy, and by the year end, can he expect some profits? We just saw yesterday some block deals happening. So what's your take on this?
I think, Shrishti, as far as gold finance companies are concerned, there are only one or two large players which operate in the markets, and Manappuram is one of them. My sense is, the business conditions for gold finance companies have improved significantly. Quarter one has been quite decent. The management commentary has also been good. So I think 135, 136 is a decent rate where I think the investor can actually buy into this stock for a slightly medium-term kind of time frame. I think apart from the gold finance business, they are also into the microfinance business. Gold finance typically generates a very strong, healthy net interest margin, and the business is more or less, risk free because the security is gold. So I think, if the investor has a 12 to 15 month kind of time horizon, he could expect a decent risk reward here. I think at least the next year, that is FY24, should be significantly better as compared to FY20.
All right. The next one that I have is coming in from PVN Rao, and he's asking a query on IDFC First Bank. He's holding 1,000 shares, Kunal, of IDFC First Bank, and he wants to know whether he should sell and look to buy IDFC instead, because in that case, he will be getting more 1,000 shares of IDFC First. Do you think that particular strategy makes sense, keeping in mind or what sort of a corporate action is likely to happen in these counters?
Well, you can do all of these juggling, and it's very difficult to comment, that which is a better name just because you get some additional shares. Like, for example, whether you're bullish on Tata Motors or Tata Motors DWare, it's a matter of instrument over here because both of them eventually head in the same direction. All what matters is the direction and the trend for these stocks, which of course is something which I've been bullish on for IDFC First Bank from a long-term play. Yes, IDFC First Bank, I think, according to the monthly, weekly charts and the quarterly charts, holds a lot of significance in terms of the breakout. And I would be extremely bullish on the stock. I think I've highlighted a target of 108, 110 for IDFC First Bank for the next 6 odd months, maybe 1 year approximately. So maintain that stance, and probably this kind of juggling is something which you can do.
Okay, Avinash, the next query is from Ayush, and he's sitting at a profit in Aarti Drugs. He's having 22% profits, and another counter, that is Orient Cements, he's having a profits of 40%. At this point in time, he wants to know good time to book profits, or he should keep holding these names. He can still hold for the next 1 to 2 years.
I think, Shristi, as far as Orient Cement is concerned, they have a large presence in 3 states, including Telangana, Maharashtra, Karnataka. And I think they have now initiated efforts to, increase their capacity to 11 million tons. So I think it's a very decent bet. Our sense is that, in Orient Cement, if the investor can hold on for at least another 8 to 12 months, he could expect a decent upside, a price target of around 225, 230. It's a promising play. We've seen decent numbers coming from the first quarter FY24 numbers also. But I think the second half should be equally better. And which was the second company, if you could tell me?
Aarti Drugs, he's sitting at a profits of 22%.
Yeah, I think in case of Bharti drugs, Shrishti, I think, this is a commodity business, and we are yet to see a very large trajectory in terms of earnings, improvement. So I would say that, a 22% upside which he has got here, I think he should book out his profits here and probably, reinvest these in some other promising sectors like, private sector banks, or maybe typically a capital goods stock, where I think, the risk reward could be better. I think commodity based specialty chemical companies are still facing, a lot of headwinds. And I think it's better that he switches over to some, other promising stocks where the risk reward is better.
Let me just make a note of the flashes on the bottom of your screen, and that's markets. As you can see, it has recovered from the day's lowest point. At least Nifty Bank, stellar recovery, 0.5% recovery coming in for Nifty Bank. There you go on your screens. Also, let's take a look at what Nifty 50 is also doing, because I believe even the benchmark indices have recovered from the day's lowest point. And yes, a smart recovery coming in for Nifty as well, at least 0.4% uptick from the day's lowest point coming in. Kunal, just a quick word from you coming in from the markets. The fact that now Nifty is again back above the 19,300 mark, you've got a good recovery coming in Nifty Bank. Do you think we'll be able to sustain it?
Looks like, I think, it started off with the indicators being extremely oversold for both the indices, Nifty as well as Bank Nifty. In fact, the RSI on the shorter term charts, not the early charts, shorter than that, was extremely oversold. So it's a reasonable bounce, and I think many of the stocks have also come back from their intraday lows towards their intraday high. So I think that's a remarkable comeback for these names, which means that the bounce should be sustainable for the indices.
Okay, a bounce looking sustainable for the indices, and what a sharp spike from being down 130 odd points. Nifty is down just 40 points, and what a recovery we have seen on Bank Nifty. We're moving on to the next counter then, and Avinash, this next query is from Dasaradi from Vijayawada, and he wants to know, is this the right time to buy Granules India and Geo Financials at current market price for long term?
Yeah, I think as far as Geo Financials, share price is concerned, I think there's been a kind of a big bout of selling in the last few days. I think today we have seen a good spike in the stock. See, my sense is I think our comfort level would be around 200 odd rupees to 210 odd rupees for Geo Financial, because see, clearly with a 1,60,000 crore balance sheet, we believe that over the next 2 years, this company is going to create a massive disruption in the financial services space. So if you have a 18 to 24 month kind of time frame, it definitely appears promising. I think you could accumulate shares and take a long-term call. Which was the other share?
Granules. At this point in time, is that a buy?
No, I think Granules, Nishti, according to me, I think would probably attract a little more bout of selling. I think the first quarter numbers were extremely disappointing. I think within the pharma pack, I think if at all he wants to buy a pharma share, I think Sun Pharma would be a better bet. Our sense is that it's a large player catering to the US markets and has a very strong growth trajectory in specialty, kind of product division. So that would be a better bet. So Granules, as of now, I think it's better to wait for at least a couple of quarters.
All right, Kunal, we also had Mr. K. Parthasarthi actually asked a similar question on the IDFC First Bank and IDFC, and we've already given your view on that, so I'll give that one a skip. The next one that I have is coming in from Madhusudan, writing to us from Hyderabad, and the companies that he has, one is Rajapalyam. I don't think you tracked this one, so I'll skip it myself. Supriya Life Sciences, I think, is the counter that he's talking about. 209 shares at a price of 320 rupees per share. Should he continue to hold on to it or exit?
Well, continue to hold on to it, and ideally I would have not suggested an average, but it's just that on the weekly charts, the stock is trading above its 50 weekly moving average. So there is this slight comfort into maybe holding on as well as adding on to the stock price. But for that, I would probably advise a stop loss of 235. So if you are a medium-term investor, I would suggest that hold on to the stock. If possible, you can look to add also at current levels. But I think for this fresh quantity which you are adding, you can keep a stop loss of 235.
Okay, that's the take coming in on Supriya Life Sciences. But with this fears, it's time to slip into a short break. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to take more of your stock-related queries. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Buy Now Sell Now show, where we get you answers for all your stock related queries, and to answer the same we have Kunal as well as Avinash with us onto the show. And Avinash, coming to you for the next query. This one is from Ravi from Chennai, and he's holding 10,000 shares of NLC India at a price of 56 rupees. Considering the recent run up in the stock, can he book profits in this one and rather buy Ircon for long term? So what will be your advice on this?
Yeah, I think if he's already having a decent amount of profits in NLC, I think he can definitely book part profits. And Ircon also should do well. Ircon has a very large order book, specifically from the railway sector. More importantly, I believe that the kind of scalability which we see in the railway infra business for Ircon is quite significant. So I think he can book part profits in NLC and definitely take a position, in Ircon International. The stock trades at pretty attractive valuations, and keeping a time frame of 12 to 15 months, he could expect a decent risk reward.
All right. This next query that I have is coming in from Chetan. He's writing to us from Bangalore, and he has 200 shares of Copran at a price of around 177 rupees per share. He sold 100 yesterday. 100 of the shares yesterday at a price of around 225. He wants to know whether he should add some more on the downfall, or should he book profits by selling remaining 100 shares. Kunal, what's your view on this one? And also on Pidilite, he has 10 shares at 2,000.
So Pidilite, in fact, I'll start off with that. I'll recommend to exit or book profits on the stock. Many of the long-term indicators have come back into a deep overbought territory. So there could be a very strong possibility that the stock may underperform if you are a medium-term to long-term investor. on a stock like Pidilite. For Copran, on the other hand, I would actually suggest that if you have sold rather at 225 odd levels, wait out for the stock to fall below 210 mark. I think 208 approximately is the first retracement support for Copran. So that could be a better zone to buy or rebuy or average.
Okay, moving on, and the next query is from Samrat. He is writing to us from Guwahati, and Avinash, he has bought 100 shares of Equitas Small Finance Bank at a price of 83 rupees. Wants to know, can he hold the stock for the long term, and can he expect high returns in this particular counter in next 1 year, as well as is this a right time to buy HDFC Bank?
Yeah, I think both questions coming to HDFC Bank first, Srishti, I think definitely from a longer term perspective, HDFC Bank looks quite promising. This is a quality stock within the private banking play, and now with merger of HDFC with HDFC Bank, I believe the next couple of years are going to be quite strong. Not only the balance sheet size is going to significantly increase, but the geographical reach and cross selling with HDFC customers are going to be significant. So I think looking at the next 12 to 18 months, I think HDFC Bank can give him a decent kind of risk reward. He needs to exercise a little bit of conviction and patience here. As far as Equitas Small Finance Banks is concerned, see, all the small finance banks have done remarkably well. Not only the asset quality has improved, the loan disbursals have improved. And in case of Equitas Small Finance Bank, the reverse merger of Equitas Financial Services with Equitas Small Finance Bank is going to further enhance its book value. So I think if he's looking at the next 12 to 15 months, he should hold on. I think even from these levels, he could expect at least a 20% upside over the next, say, 12 to 15 months.
Okay, this next one is coming in from Pratiksha, writing to us from Oman, wants to know whether she can buy Kotak Mahindra Bank and Copran, again, Kunal, for a current price for a period of 1 year. What sort of a target should she keep for the next 1 year?
Copran, as I said, maybe sub 210 is where you can look to buy. The stock is at 214 or 215 approximately. So you can wait for another couple of percentage points correction to enter into the stock price. Kotak Mahindra Bank could be a bit tricky one because there are two ways to analyze the chart. One, on the long term basis, that the stock has been a huge underperformer, but on the other hand, 1700 1750 mark has been acting as a major support or a demand zone for Kotak Bank. So long term wise, very difficult to expect that the stock would break out immediately, but purely in terms of risk reward, you may look to enter even if you are a investor with a 1 year horizon and looking out for maybe a 10% kind of a target. So you can look to add Kotak Bank and maybe average at 1700 mark.
Okay, Kunal, let me come to you for the next query. This one is from Vignesh from Vellore, and he wants an advice on two counters for a long-term investment, Tarsan Products as well as Glenmark Life Sciences. Can he invest in any of these names with a long-term vision?
Tarsans, I think, as we discussed earlier, would not suggest a buy at current levels. I think 470 could be a better zone in case if the stock corrects to that territory, say in the next few weeks. That could be a better level to buy. Glenmark Life Sciences, on the other hand, I think is a very good buy from long-term play. Yes, the stock has done exceptionally well, but these are the kind of stocks which you should have in as part of your long-term portfolio. There are three steps which you look out for, three staggered steps which you look out for: a 10%, 20%, and a 25% retracement. So whenever the stock falls into that basket of a correction of 10% from the previous major swing highs, then a 20%, 25%, we tend to recommend adding the stock in those dips. So that's a strategy which you should adopt for Glenmark Life.
All right, the next one that I have is coming in from Kiran Krishnamurthy. Kunal, sorry once again for you, because he wants to know about lump sum investment in a power stock which can be a multi-bagger for the next 5 years. Can be any in the power stock. It can be a generator, it can be also a financier.
I'm not sure of a multi-bagger and a best price to buy the stock, because most of the stocks are extremely overbought, and it's generally a fancy to try and buy the stocks which are running in terms of high momentum. But I think something which you can have on your radar is something like PFC, REC, even at not at current levels precisely, but even if these stocks dip by another 10% broadly from their previous swing highs, that's a better zone to try and buy these stocks purely for a long-term investor.
Okay, moving on, and the next query that I have is coming in on Advanced Enzyme. Subra from Chennai is holding 100 shares of Advanced Enzyme at a price of 409. And Avinash, he wants to know, should he book loss in this particular counter, or is it likely to recover in the short-term period?
I think, Shrishti, as far as Advanced Enzymes is concerned, it's a quality play in the enzyme market. largely the business is export oriented. But I think, if the investor has a very short term vision, then I don't think, a large kind of risk reward is possible. Unless the investor has a time frame which is going to be little over a year. I think, obviously, this market has actually been beaten down very badly. But our sense is that from the second half of FY24, things should look up. And I think they are in a very niche space where margins are very attractive. So I think keeping a time frame of 12 to 15 months, the investor can hope to recover his capital and make a decent risk reward. But in the short term, I don't see any major triggers which could re-rate the stock.
This was coming from Padma, who's a senior citizen, and Padma has Elecon Engineering as well as Kalyani Steels Kunal in the portfolio, making good profit about 20%. Should hold or sell?
Both of them I would suggest to book out profits. You can, I think, consider booking out maybe 50% or more profits on both of these stocks. So the indicators seem to be coming back into an overbought territory. But what has also happened is that these stocks have started off a major uptrend on the long-term basis. So the long-term prospects look attractive, but it's just that when the indicators are overbought, and if you want to, maybe sell at current levels and look for corrections to buy back again, that could be a better strategy.
Okay, Kunal, once again coming to you. This one is from NSS Lakshmi from Vijayawada, and she wants your suggestion on two counters. 1,000 shares of Rashtriya Chemicals. She's bought these shares at a price of 55, and DCW. 2,000 shares at a price of 20 rupees. In both of these counters, should she book profits or hold on? What would be your advice?
RCF, I think 120.25 is a better zone to book out profits. It's at 119, so maybe you can wait for another couple of percentage points if you can to try and exit. DCW also, on the other hand, I think the better level to exit or book profits on the stock is about 50 mark. 48.9 or 48.8 is where the stock is trading right now. So maybe another 2 percentage points higher from current levels is a good zone where you can look to book out short-term profits.
Okay, this one is coming from Sushil Kumar from Trichy, asking about Sun TV, bought at levels of around 553 rupees per share last year. Even Geo Financials is what he's holding. He should know what sort of a target should he aim for taking for booking of profits, or should he keep holding on for much larger target? Kunal, target and timeline. Geo Financial, I'm sure you cannot speak on that particular counter. Sun TV, have you been able to see the charts for this one?
Yeah, Sun TV I'm particularly very bullish on. In fact, yesterday itself we were highlighting that how this 590 mark for Sun TV could be a huge trigger point in terms of a breakout, for the stock, where it could possibly come back towards, a zone of a major uptrend over the next 1 year. So would be bullish on Sun TV and would possibly expect the stock to head up to at least 850 to 900 mark if this uptrend sustains for the stock in the next 6 months to 9 months.
Okay, that's the take coming in on Sun TV, seeing no stopping. But with this, viewers, it's time to slip into a short break. But don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, a show where we get you answers for all of your stock-related query. As you can see on your screen, the flashes, Geo Financial's removal from the Sensex has been deferred by another 3 days. And also, the other key note is the fact that Geo Financial was supposed to be out from August 28th itself. So that's now been deferred by 3 days. But let's continue taking your queries now. And this one is coming from Subha Reddy. He has 100 shares of Rajesh Exports, Kunal. 580 is a buy price. Should he continue to add on for this one for the next 6 months, or should he look at some other strategy?
I would not suggest an average at current levels for the stock. It's been a huge underperformer even in the last 8-9 months. I think the stock has corrected almost 50%, if not more, in this calendar year itself. Underperforming stock. Better to make a switch, and one recommendation which I would probably offer would be Bajaj Finserv.
Okay, but with this, viewers, let's shift focus to the buy now, sell now lens today, and we're going to be focusing on the major block deals that have happened in the month gone by. Because for today, Paytm is a buzz on the back of the mega block deal in which Anfin sold about 3.6% stake worth 2,000 crores, and there has been a lot of block deal on the Dalal Street this month. And to unpack all of that, we have our colleague Sharad Dubey with us live into the studios. So Sharad, start by telling us how the block deal trends have shaped up in the month gone by, and what were the key highlights?
Well, a large chunk of block deals are happening, and of course there are two reasons. PEs are exiting Promoters are also selling. You can say it's a bull market coming in, but a decent absorption is coming in, be it the DIs as well as from the retail segment. Now let's look at the key deals which have happened, of course, this week and also this month. We also have Coforge yesterday, where Beringsby actually sold almost 27 odd % stake, and SGS Enterprises, that is where their PE Evergraph, they also sold almost 30% stake. Also we saw GQG Partners actually taking the stake up when it comes to Adani Power and also in JSW Energy. And today itself the deal space was abuzz with Paytm block deals happening, Zomato, and even smaller names such as Uno Minda. So this is something which were the major block deals we are seeing in the month of August.
Right. So, Sharad, those are the major block deals that's happened in the month of August. You also had this week and today alone as well. But the point being is, it's not just about block deal. There are major investments also that have taken place in the month of August, isn't it?
Well, yes, that has kept all the analysts busy over the week.
You too, is it?
Yes. And let's just actually talk about the major investments which have happened in August. And first one would be Reliance, of course, Qatar Investment Authority. They have acquired almost 1% stake in their Reliance retail arm, and the value number, that is more than almost 8,500 odd crore rupees. Ambuja Cements in focus. Adani Group expected to acquire the controlling stake in Sanghi Cement, and of course the EV value of the deal, that is coming in roughly 5,000 odd crore rupees. Titan also, they have actually increased their stake to almost actually having an entire stake in Carrot Lane, and that valuation, that has been one of the largest exits also, we could say, in the startup space. That's valued at 17,000 crore rupees. Car Trade, a small acquisition from OLX classified auto business, that was roughly more than 500 odd crore rupees. While for Paytm also, there was an important announcement, and today, of course, there is a kind of a story to it, is that Vijay Sharma would be actually acquiring 10% stake in the company, and they'll be taken in from Antfin. So this is what the extension is coming of the deal.
Okay, Sharad, but it's not just about the block deals that have been already announced. There was so many buzz about some of the other counters, at least Cipla, that's what I track. So tell us more about that and any other stock that was in focus.
So a lot of suitors are coming, Shishti. The stock which you are tracking over here, the P players are already there. Now we are also having Torrent Pharma in the race. And of course, they'll be taking the promoter's stake, is something which actually everybody is looking out for. Hamid family's stake is roughly 33.5%, which is valued at more than 33,000 crore rupees in the current prices. And even one more stock from Adani Group has made it to the list, that is Adani Energy Solutions, where Abu Dhabi's National Energy is expecting to deploy roughly between 1.5 to almost $2 billion.
All right, so that's about the deal and all the buzz around it. You've spoken about the investments. You've spoken about the block deals that's taken place in the month of August. But if you could tell us what exactly is the block deal trend been, especially in FY24 alone, because if I look at the numbers, we've actually surpassed, almost bound to surpass even FY23 numbers.
Exactly. The thing is, it's just been 6 months.
Yes. Right.
That's the main thing. And over there, if you look at it, FY20, FY21, the numbers have been low when it comes to your deal size. And these are the block deals I'm talking about. And also the number of deals. Now for FY23, if you look at the numbers itself, that has gone up almost more than 55,000 odd crore rupees, and the deal size only 41. Now only in 6 months into FY24, you look at the numbers, it's more than 40,000 crores. And do remember today's block deals also, if you take in the factor, it can also reach as much as 50,000 odd crore rupees. In terms of the deals, almost 30 of them have been tracked by us.
Right, but not yet 6 months for FY24. In fact, though we'll want the year to go by faster, isn't it? But yes, we're just in the month of August and we've already seen approximately 40,000 crore rupees worth of block deals take place so far in FY24. And that's the way how the trend is shaping up. A lot of number crunching done for you, isn't it, Sharad, on back of this particular analysis that you brought for all of our viewers. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, and this is very crucial, right? We've seen a lot of block deal actions take place, but Avinash, I want to come to you and want to ask you, how should investors actually view this? Because the fact that if you have promoters offloading the stake, should investors be worried? Because some of the places where the promoters have offloaded stake, you've had marquee investors also log in, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Cheryl, this is a very valid point. See, I think normally, promoters do divest at certain point of time, so it's not an untouchable kind of subject. But I think you must understand that, obviously when marquee investors want to invest into companies, they require a large block of, shares. And obviously the promoter offloads some part of his equity, which enables such marquee investors to come in. So I think it's not a bad deal if investors were to look at such companies from a longer term kind of horizon. Specifically, I would like to comment on Paytm. See, now Paytm has now started generating a lot of interest, largely because of the fact that operational metrics have started getting better and better. In fact, on the gross merchant value, on the cost rationalization, I think the previous first quarter was extremely solid. So I think, once marquee investors come in case of Paytm, it is Vijay Shankar Sharma who is actually adding to, the equity in the company, which gives a fair amount of belief that the promoter is putting his skin in the game. So my sense is that these kind of deals give you an indirect indication as what is the appetite of these stocks with marquee investors, because clearly a bigger investor coming in the company obviously re-rates the company over the medium to long term.
All right. Thank you so much for that take coming in, Avinash, as well as thank you so much, Kunal, for joining us on the show and giving us your take on what should investors do with their holdings. But here's a special interaction that my colleague Sumit Chaturvedi is having with Sajan Jindal.
And a lot of other places. What is your assessment there? Steel demand as far as the future few quarters are concerned, how does that look?
So, India, as we said just now, that India is in a very strong position at the moment and is growing quite well at 7-8%. India is growing, and the infrastructure is really kicking up in India, and which is consuming a lot of steel and cement. So India is in a position where we are consuming a lot more steel than we were all these years. On the other side, the other parts of the world, whether it's China, whether it's Japan, whether it is Korea, the growth rates have slowed down, and there is a lot of pressure on those countries or those companies to export their products into India. And that's why we are seeing a lot more steel is coming into India. And now the disadvantage of that is, though the feeling in the let's say in the decision making parts of the government is that the MSME sector depends upon imported steel or depends upon lower cost of steel, and it will get hurt. But actually speaking, that is not the real situation, because the price of steel is international. It doesn't get impacted whether Chinese steel is allowed to come into India or not. It doesn't affect the domestic steel prices. Domestic steel prices reflect what is happening in the world markets. So therefore, we should, in fact, Steel Ministry has been recommending that, and also the Commerce Ministry has been recommending that we should restrict imports of steel coming into India.
So talking about a news which was quite there a few months ago, your interest in MG Motors, India operations, what's status there? What's the status currently? You're still in talks with them?
Well, we are having our discussions, and there are a lot of to and fro is going on. So I cannot give you any conclusive answer right now whether it's happening or not happening, but it is discussions and it's work under progress.
But are you serious about your mind? Because you earlier also forayed into electric vehicle space. Then there was some problems that now you're looking at. Is it equity? Is it what is it looking at? What are you looking at?
We are very serious about entering the EV space. It happens through MG would be preferred choice. Otherwise, we are also working parallelly to develop our own EV car.
EV car, when that can be seen, but you are very, very bullish about EV market as such.
Bullish as in we feel that it's an area where we must enter as a country. We must because this is the future of the cars. EV is the future. So I'm sure that this is a good time to enter.
And one last question on that interest rate, sir. RBI governor said that inflation, because of vegetable prices rising, they can possibly rise more. Interest rates can also go up for that. What's your outlook on that, sir?
No, I'm not an expert on fiscal matters and financial issues, but my belief is that the vegetable prices are not going to get affected by a rise in interest rates. It could slow down the economy as a whole, but vegetable prices go up and down because of the demand-supply mismatch, or if there is supply shortage, and that's why prices have risen. But by raising the interest rates, I don't think prices of tomatoes and onions are going to come down or go up.
And one question small on Chandrayaan, sir. What's your view there?
I mean, of course, we are one of the 4 countries in the world to get onto the Chandrayaan. So it's an amazing achievement, and my kudos to the whole of ISRO team. what they have done is they made India and all of us Indians very, very proud.
Fine, sir. Thank you so much for giving us time, sir. Pleasure talking to you all always, sir.
Okay.